A very warm good morning to all of you. Today our session is based on the question answer. That means how will you attempt question and answer, right, for the final paper of yours. See students, this is very vital and this is very crucial. Finally we all are struggling to get marks, and this is very important that you need to score well in the languages, right? So how exactly you need to write in your final paper? See the text. If you consider the text, your text, you will get the question like this, right? So it will be 12 question carries 1 mark each, so 12 marks, right? This one, right? Now 8 questions carrying 4 marks each, so total it comes down to 32 marks, right? Then next is 1 question carrying 6 marks, and here 6, right? For the first section you won't get any option. All questions are mandatory, 12 questions. For this section, here you will get 10 questions. Out of 10, you will have to choose 8 and 2 from poetry. Here you will get 3 questions. Out of 3, you will have to opt only 1, right? So this is the strategy, right? Now, the thing is that how will you attempt and how much time you can spend on this particular questions, because time is one of the main factors, right? So you need to be very specific regarding time management. It is one of the major matter, right? So here the 12 question carrying 1 mark. How will you attempt this? See, this question comes like this, that is write the answer or answer the following in 1 word or a phrase or a sentence, right? So you need to have the clear conception, a crystal clear idea about the answer. Otherwise, you will be baffled. So you will have to write, instead of 1 word or a phrase or a sentence, you will have to write a paragraph, which is not needed. So you will be losing your crucial time, and moreover, you will be awarded with a 0, because that is not required here. Listen carefully. What we want only 1 word, right? So here the question will be asked in such a way that answer can be given in a word or a phrase, right? So you need to be thorough with the concept. So for that, what you need to go thoroughly through the lesson, right? It doesn't mean that whatever is given in the comprehension, that means the last at the back of this, that means the comprehension, the first few questions you will prepare, and you feel happy that yes, from that comprehension only you will get the question. It's not necessary. Okay, so you need to be thorough with the entire content. Fine. So you can answer properly. So it should be of 1 word answer. Otherwise, if it is no way possible to answer the question in a word, so you can opt for a phrase or max to max a sentence, not more than that, right? For 4 marks question, I always encourage my students to go for the introduction. There should be a nice introduction, right? So always when we teach a lesson, it is a part of the literature that we should give the introduction of the author. We should give the introduction of a poet, because it is very much essential part of the literature that you should be familiar with the concept, with the notion of a poet or an author, right? Because it creates a real impact in the writing, right? In the writing, the creator's mind creates a real impact in the writings and in the creation. Okay, so you should know what creator or what the poet or the author thinks, right? So that means in the perspective of the author, right? You will have to consider the writing in the perspective of the author. So in the introduction of yours, you should write about the author. You should write about the poet. I'm not saying that you write, an entire paragraph. Only few lines. What you know about the author, whether you are familiar with the author or not. Few lines. Say, today's lesson will be Gentleman of the Jungle. So I will tell you what exactly you need to write. Then after 2 lines about the author, after 3 lines about the author, you go about the concept of the lesson. That means whether it is a satire, it is a comedy, it is a tragedy, whatever, right, to your concept. It is a criticism. What do you think, right? So it is very nice, right? So you can write just introduction. Then directly you go to your answer. That means the third paragraph, the second paragraph will be directly based on your answer. So the second paragraph of 4 marks question will detail your answer, and the third paragraph will be the concluding paragraph or the concluding line. So containing this 3 paragraph your answer, right? That means 4 marks question. Fine. So it will fetch you 3.5 or 4 marks. I cannot guarantee you 4 marks, because there is a possibility of the spelling mistake. If you can ensure the thing that there won't be any grammatical mistake, you won't commit any spelling mistake or grammatical mistake, yes, then 4 marks, that is entirely yours. Okay, so you will have to be very specific that no mistakes, grammatical mistake or spelling mistake, or that is introduction, and then followed by the detail of this writing, that means the lesson, and then 3 specific paragraph, and then underlining the if you are giving the quotation from the line, or that means you are citing, you are quoting from something, the line or the major concept from the lesson, then you will have to underline. That doesn't mean that entire answer will be underlined. No, it gives a very clumsy look. Don't go for that. And the neat presentation, all that gives you 4 marks, right? Don't ask that what fetch the 4 marks. I have written so much. It is not about the lengthy answer of yours, students. Okay, listen carefully. It is not about the lengthy answer. Many a times you say that yes, she has written less than me, he has written more than me. It is not about the length of your answer. Okay, and if you are very particular about the length, yes, 4 marks means 1 full skip page. Got it? It will suffice. But yes, it always matters to the point what exactly the question has asked you. It has been asked in the question, and which points you have cited there, which points you have given there. Okay, whether those points are worthy for the question asked or not, it matters, right? So you will have to be very specific in answering the question, right? introduction for each lesson. If you prepare one introduction, it will suffice. What I am saying, one introduction, because final paper, one question will be asked from each lesson, right? So this tips, you please listen carefully. Don't switch off or don't keep the mobile aside and carelessly you listen. These are the points which will support you fetching good marks, dear students. Okay, now 6 marks question. I'm coming to 6 marks question. See, 6 marks question, it will be more lengthy, right? 2 pages max to max, because it depends on your speed of your writing, because completion of the paper, it is a must. Okay, you will have to complete the paper, and it depends that in 3 hours exactly how fast you can write. So 1.5 or max to max 2 pages. It doesn't mean you will have to include irrelevant point to make unnecessarily your answer lengthy. Don't write irrelevant point. I make it. Just listen carefully and make it a point that don't include irrelevant points, right? So this will be, you include valid points. And for 6 marks, give more lengthy introduction. So instead of 2 lines of the author's introduction, make it lengthy, that is 2 to 3 lines introduction or 3 to 4 lines. And then see, say take the example for Gentlemen of the Jungle. It is a satire, and here you will have to give, say it is a satire, it is a fable, and the concept of colonialism and then anti-colonialism, right? Everything you will have to write, then you go for the answer, right, what has been asked. And the last and the most vital point here for 6 marks, that is your analytical apprehension, right? For 6 marks question, students, it is very important that how much you write about your own concept, how you can criticize, how your analytical apprehension is about this lesson, how much you understood about this lesson, right? So that will fetch you marks for 6 marks question. Alright, so these are the things. Now for here I am telling you here the points, that means which points are supportive, which points are necessary for Gentlemen of the Jungle. See, here the first and the foremost thing, Jomo Kenyatta. So Jomo Kenyatta, the points needed, that is, he was the anti-colonial activist, right? Anti-colonial activist. I'm going slow so you can understand. Anti-colonial activist, he was the politician and who governed Kenya as the first prime minister, and he was elected as the first president. That means he was the firstly elected prime minister, then he was elected as the first president of free Kenya, right? But he was the activist, prominent feature of him, he was the anti-colonial activist, right? Now, as you say, anti-colonial activist, colonialism. What is colonialism? I am giving you the points of colonialism. Colonialism is a policy or a practice of acquiring either completely or partially control over another country. Now, why you will get control over another country, right? So that is occupying another country, or encroaching the land of another country, that is exploiting their economy, okay, to boost their economy or to boost their own economy. They used to exploit others' economy. That is called colonialism, right? So to invading others' land, you can say, okay, encroaching others' land, to exploiting or controlling partially or controlling completely other country. It is called colonialism. So in the 19th century, we can see there was European concept of colonialism, and that has happened. So Africa, European powers divided Africa among themselves. That was the issue when there was the concept grown in all over the world regarding industrialization. Okay, so as there was the concept of industrialization, there was the necessity of land and manpower. Okay, so the European were in the need of land and manpower. So they went for colonialism. And what is anti-colonialism? When there was the concept of colonialism, obviously there will be the concept of anti-colonialism, isn't it? Even our India, we Indians, we have suffered of colonialism, isn't it? So how long the people will suffer, right? And once they protest, this movement of protest will turn as anti-colonialism, isn't it? So what is anti-colonialism? The event anti-colonialism means the struggle against imperial rule, the struggle against this rule of colonialism, right? So that means the struggle against imperial rule in colonized country. Once our India, it became the colonized country, it was controlled by the British, okay, mostly during the first half of 20th century it happened, right? So this was anti-colonialism. So why I am discussing all this? Because here is a subtle sense of movement of anti-colonialism, struggle against the imperial power that we can sense in this story, The Gentleman of Jungle, isn't it? So see, here we can see the sense of, we can see the essence of, the subtle sense, essence of anti-colonialism, right? What was that? That was a Mau Mau movement. Mau Mau movement means the African people, African tribe, a group of tribal Kenyan people, they fought against the strong imperial British power. Okay, it was a kind of guerrilla warfare, and that picture of guerrilla warfare, that picture of Mau Mau movement is being sketched, is being depicted here in the form of a fable. Fable means a short story, typically where animals they can speak and they can preach a moral. So that is called a fable. Perhaps you know about Aesop's fable, right? So in a form of a fable, right? One more thing that is important. So we have talked about Jomo Kenyatta, we have talked about colonialism, we have talked about anti-colonialism, we have talked about here Mau Mau movement, we have talked about a fable, and we have talked about, we are going to talk about a satire, because this is a prominent question often here. It has been asked that whether how you can discuss whether this story can be discussed as a prominent political satire or not. Okay, so satire, what is a satire? A satire means it's a genre of literature, right? Genre means it's a section of literature, okay, in which the vices, the follies, the shortcomings that often it happens in the section of the politics, in the society, or a particular individual commits, right? It is been sensitized by the poet or the author's sensitive mind, and when it has been realized, it is been sophistically criticized by the author, and it is been projected sophistically in the writing. That is called a satire. Okay, so satire is a genre of literature in which vices, follies, drawbacks, shortcomings are held up with ridicule, ideally with the intent of shaming individual. Either it can be individual or corporates or governments and even society, right? So today till this. Next we will be discussing the almost all the question answer possible. Thank you.